Hi, everybody. It's Bruce from RightPlantz.com, and I'm here today with 6 questions for Utopian Landscape, LLC. Utopian Landscape is a landscape company up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and our owners, Terra Phelps and Nikos Phelps, are joining us today. So thank you guys for joining us and for being our guinea pigs on webcast number 1. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bruce.
So tell us a little bit about Utopian Landscape, who you serve, what services you offer, how many employees you have, things like that.
Utopian is a company I founded in 2008 after graduating from college. And we are a predominantly residential company, and about 90% residential, 10% commercial. Mm-hmm. And the commercial we do service is usually the businesses of our residential clients. And we are fairly evenly, we're probably a little bit more focused on the design build, probably like a 60-40 split over management and
how many employees do you have?
Thank you. Yeah, employees. There's 7 of us total. So there's we're in the office predominantly, or doing sales calls or estimates, and we have 5 production employees.
Okay, and you're in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So is that considered central Pennsylvania or southern Pennsylvania? What do they
we would call it central Pennsylvania, but it's probably a little closer south central Pennsylvania. Okay. So we work in probably about a 45-minute radius from where we're located here.
Awesome, right along the Susquehanna River, I imagine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And Terra, your title I saw on your website is The Handler.
Yes.
Care to expand upon that at all?
Yeah, so I joined the company in 2015, and when we kind of were establishing what my roles and responsibilities were going to be, we didn't want me to just come in with a typical title. I wanted something that would be less intimidating to the team, and that really fit kind of what I would be doing. And essentially I handle an array of things. So, and then it was kind of like a double meaning for being like a circus handler. So just kind of have this role where you're very flexible and you move from a lot of different roles and responsibilities, and you're not really pigeonholed into one position.
Got it. And Nikos, you're the visionary.
I am, and I chose that title just because this was my brainchild years ago, and just kind of looking at things in the future and where we're going, and even today, kind of seeing how things that we implemented 5-6 years ago are really starting to take shape today. So felt very fitting, and like Terra said, it doesn't pigeonhole you into a specific title, and it allows you to have a little bit of fun with it. Something that's I think a little bit more encompassing.
Excellent. That sounds both titles are a little unique, and I like the way you're expressing that very much. Yeah. So let's jump into our 6 questions. The first one is, you're in a great market. There's a lot of great companies up there in Harrisburg. I should say up there because I'm in Maryland. What sets Utopian Landscape apart from the other ones?
I can take this one. Essentially, our area is just packed with landscaping companies. I think the last time we checked, there were roughly 500 companies in this area. So it is really hard to set ourselves apart. But I think the biggest thing is like values and integrity are the biggest things that set us apart, because we don't treat our team like most landscaping companies treat their teams. We really value their opinions. We do 360 reviews so that they can actually tell us, or 180 reviews, sorry, where they can actually tell us what we're doing wrong and where we can improve and what we're actually doing right and things that they like as well. So through that, we've been able to really grow and improve just our hiring processes and the types of benefits we offer, just to kind of keep our team with retention versus having to find new team members every year. And then, integrity, I think, is huge in this industry. So, we won't ever suggest something if we don't believe in it. We won't try to sell something if it's not right for you.
Sounds like you have a firm handle on your company's core values.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, to Terra's point there about you know, with the way we do value our employees, it shows with the work they do too. You know, they really have a vested interest in and they take pride in every job that they do. And you know, so often we'll hear from our clients that just, you know, your team was great. They just, you could tell they care about it, that they know what they're doing. And you know, very polite, just always great feedback from our clients.
That's terrific. How did your employees, I assume you're a very close-knit group with 7 people, and knowing you guys the way I do, how did they first feel about reviewing you guys, giving you guys feedback as the owners?
So that was something we started doing when Terra came on board. And the first time we did it, everybody felt it was a trap. And so we sat down and we had this meeting, and really nothing came of it. And when we spoke with our most senior employee after the fact, he said, well, so we were afraid to speak up because we didn't know what would happen. And you know, so it really has taken a little bit to get everybody to understand that we can't change what we don't know. And you know, and our team has, right, wrong, or otherwise, they have become very vocal and very open about what's good for them, what's not good for them. And you know, and for us as employers, we really had to learn to sit back and listen, and just and then do something about it. It's one thing to listen, but we, you know, and so we might get 5 or 6 different things that we can improve on. And the biggest thing is we just communicate with them. We let them know what we can do right now, where we're working on. And a lot of times, if we don't have the answer, we usually will look to them to help create the answer, create the solution. So they have a vested interest in the change that's happening.
Sounds like a real open workplace, real positive.
Yeah.
Hats off to you on that. So you've been in business since 2008, which by my simple math is 12 years. What would you say to somebody who wants to start out in the industry now? What advice would you give them? What are the mistakes you learned from that you would do differently?
Oh boy. You know, I think the first thing, I mean, especially with starting out, is just understand that is I guess would be kind of learning what you're doing, and try to create you know, like your production rates or your estimating. You know, kind of on that would be not being afraid to charge what the job is worth. I think one of the biggest hurdles I had starting out was I always felt, well, that's too expensive, nobody's going to pay it. And even if that was the cost of the job, I would change the price because I thought it was too much. But it's, you know, that's kind of the big thing to know. It's, you're not paying for the service, and the value of that service to someone else is different than what that value of the service may be to you. And I think once I was able to get that out of my head, and trust, you know, was able to trust the numbers that we put out, it made life easier, because, you know, you're not doing a job and you're 100 hours in, and you're budgeted for 80 hours, and you still have, you know, another week to go. So so really just being comfortable with the product you service. And I think probably one other important piece of advice would, if you don't know something, just say you don't know. You know, I know I made that mistake, and somebody would ask something and said, oh yes, of course I can do that. And then the next thing you know, you're in trouble, and you're kind of compromising your reputation, or doesn't matter how good anything else was. So we got very good at saying, we don't know, but we'll try to get you an answer.
Sure. So for those of you starting out, know your stuff, know your worth, and if you don't know the answer, find out.
Yeah.
That's great advice. 3 really great points. You serve mostly homeowners, and RightPlantz is a gardening website for homeowners, and we're trying to link homeowners to the professionals on our site. What would you want a homeowner to know about hiring a landscape company?
I'll take this one. I deal a lot with clients and when they're in kind of the bidding phase, and some things that I always remind them is make sure you're comparing apples to apples. That's huge. So, you know, from the way a company treats their employees to the kind of the ethics and the materials they use. But also, if you've never worked with somebody before, Google them and maybe even pull their background check. Because, you know, we recently spoke to somebody who hired a contractor, and the contractor basically just disappeared. So those kinds of things happen all the time, but you can kind of prevent that if you just do a quick background check, or, you know, do a Google search and just make sure they have a contractor number.
Mm-hmm. Great advice. And of course, we only list really good landscapers on RightPlantz, so it's a good place to check as well. A shameless plug.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
If I could say something, you know, a lot of our work has been, a lot of our work is fixing other jobs that have gone bad.
Interesting.
So, you know, so we kind of have this saying that the only thing more expensive than a good landscaper is a bad landscaper, because, you know, there's, you know, having to undo something that was done incorrectly the first time can be very, very expensive and very painful. And it is, you know, it's unfortunate.
That's a great point. Thank you for bringing that one up. What do you want potential customers to know about Utopian Landscape? What's the one thing that you want them to realize about you?
I think we take a very holistic approach to landscaping. So we try to look at the big picture. So if you're asking us to do a patio, we're going to make sure the drainage is proper and things around it are, you know, low, if that's what you're looking for. You know, if we're there and we identify issue, we'll make sure it's addressed before, you know, with everything else. So you don't end up with those expensive add-ons. So I think the holistic approach is really important when it comes to landscaping, because it's a living, you know, landscapes are alive. So you have to make sure that you're considering that.
That's a great point. Hopefully homeowners will listen to you on that.
Yeah.
So we've all been going through this fun COVID-19 period for the last 3.5 months, and there's no in sight. Unfortunately, and it sounds like you guys are getting through it just fine, and a lot of our industry is. What do you think Utopian Landscape will look like when COVID-19 is solved? What changes have you put in place that you think will outlast the pandemic?
You know, a lot of what we've done has unfortunately actually made us less efficient, and you know, we've always done staggered start times. That's something that has been very helpful with COVID. Where we've really struggled has been on the social distancing and travel. So a job that you may have been able to fit 4 people in a truck, now you're going to with 4 trucks, and just people being mindful of the equipment they're using, make sure it's their equipment, the sterilization process at the end of the day. And now the one positive side is the trucks are very clean, because they do get wiped down on a daily basis. But it has been a little challenging, just kind of managing some of those items, just the logistics, because being a smaller company, sometimes we just don't have it. We don't have a 5th truck. And so we did, you know, we put some plexiglass partitions and put duct work to get to the back, so you know, the staff can be socially distanced and safe while they're in the enclosed cab.
Sounds like you guys have really taken it on and been responsible owners. I salute you for that. COVID-19 aside, what does Utopian Landscape look like in 5 years? What do you envision? What do you hope for?
I think we are kind of evaluating things and assessing what our area needs, because this has been a time when clientele are really like, you know, instead of getting 2 bids, they're getting 4 because they have the time in their home. So it's really making us analyze like what's sustainable in our area. And then we always wanted to kind of get into more of an electric realm so that we can be more eco-friendly. Those types of things with the earth and just kind of giving back to the environment is really important to us. And we know landscaping can be pretty taxing on the environment. So any way we can be more environmentally friendly, we try to push, you know, pollinator awareness and all of that. And then, you know, just being slightly larger and a little bit better equipped moving forward.
Got it. When you say electric, do you mean battery powered equipment and things like that? Great. Listen, guys, Nikos, Terra, I really appreciate your time today. It's been great to learn a little more about Utopian Landscape and to see you guys. And I wish you all the best in the next couple weeks and months and years. So thank you for joining us on RightPlantz.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, Bruce.
My pleasure. Take care.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.